Good morning and welcome to Sunday Reset at the Momentary. Sunday Reset is a new series by the Momentary to provide a fresh start for minds and bodies through engaging in different forms of meditation. I'm Paul Peterson and I'll be guiding our meditation today. I'm a local marriage and family therapist who runs my own private practice, and I work mostly with couples, and I'm also trained in clinical hypnotherapy. Before we start today's practice, I want to take a moment to acknowledge and pay respect to the Osage, Caddo, and Quapaw people and elders past, present, and future, offering deep gratitude to the ancestral land and water that supports the Momentary, where we are today. We also thank and acknowledge those Indigenous people who live and work in our communities today. The work we'll be meditating with today is titled The Fountain by Diego Rodriguez Warner. This painting is located in the Momentary's lobby gallery, which is the last gallery remaining on display as part of the State-of-the-Art 2020 exhibition. This last portion of the exhibition will be on display until August 16th, so I encourage you to visit it in person or enjoy its beauty here and now with us. So, a little background just about how I'm approaching today's meditation. We've done stuff like this before, meditating on art, lots of people have, and today we're going to be playing around with how this painting in particular offers a lot of metaphors of consciousness. And the experience of consciousness usually goes unnoticed by all of us in our waking everyday state. And occasionally we have glimpses where we realize what's actually happening inside our mind. And so I think the work here that Diego has created, it captures a few wonderful pieces of the phenomenology, the lived experience of consciousness. And so we'll be using the painting as a way to touch on our own experience of consciousness. So, let's begin. Today's practice will be suitable for anyone who has any experience with mindfulness or not, or meditation. And there will be a few aspects for maybe people who have had more experience with this that might be fun as well. But wherever you're at and however this is coming to you, if you're in your home, if you're on a walk, if you're in nature, is just fine. And you can just enjoy to whatever degree you want to, all right? Everything I offer will be really just an offering, suggestion, and you're welcome to take it or leave it or do your own thing during this time. And lastly, of course, anything that happens for you, anything that comes up, feelings, sensations, is just fine, and you can just allow it to be part of your experience today. So go ahead and let yourself settle into your chair, into your seat, into the grass, into the sofa, wherever you're at. Just let yourself breathe. Maybe your breath is easy and light. Maybe it's heavy and labored, that's fine. Just let yourself breathe naturally for a few moments as you let yourself settle into the next few moments that we have together. And if you already know that closing your eyes will help, then you can go ahead and do so. But if you're okay keeping them open, that's fine too. And begin to let yourself experience your senses. Maybe you start with sound, and you just let yourself hear all the sounds around you. Here in the Momentary, there's not much at all. It's so still. Gentle whirring of an AC unit, maybe. Light traffic outside. And so you may pick up on sounds that are around you. Maybe you can hear the sound that's farthest away from you right now. Maybe there are other sounds as well in the room, in the space that you're in. And one of the amazing pieces of awareness is that it's truly infinite, in the sense that if you heard a sound that was a mile away, you could if it was loud enough. And if there was a sound that was even 10 miles away that was loud enough, you could actually hear it. So there's no actual limit to your ability to hear, as long as the signal is loud enough. And so maybe you feel, as you're settling into this moment, that your awareness is expanding forever, or maybe settling inside you forever. But just let yourself hear whatever's happening. Maybe you hear some of your own thoughts. And that's fine, you can hear them too. Because if you're like most of us, your experience is full of all kinds of things inside the space between your ears. At least that's how it feels most of the time. And so you can let thoughts and ideas and words come to you, and you can hear those too with your inner ear, just like you can hear the sounds that are all around you. And maybe some sounds seek your attention more than others. Maybe they clamor for you. And so what we'll play around with today is what it feels like to realize that you are not your thoughts. Maybe you're not even the one they're clamoring for. Maybe witnessing it all from somewhere else. And so at this point, I wonder if you could slowly open your eyes as if you're in a dream, and to take in the painting that's on the screen now. Just notice what seems to clamor for your attention. Notice what seems to reach for you. And maybe take a moment to also not have to notice what doesn't reach for you. And as you gaze at the work of art here, I wonder if you could let your eyes soften to this sort of soft gaze that we sometimes have when our mind and eyes are seeing what's not in focus. And just let the big picture come into your awareness for a second. And Diego commented that this piece is like an amalgam of disparate parts that are pushing, pulling, maybe for your attention or maybe for something else. But as you take a second to really let the painting be absorbed by you, maybe parts of you are obviously represented. Sometimes things reach out. Other times they're veiled in shadow. Maybe you present part of yourself to the world, and part of you folds back in shame or worry or guilt. And maybe that has a sensation connected to it. Maybe part of you does feel free and can be out here, outside your skin and outside the space between your ears. And so let this image, this artwork, rest in your vision. And as I invite you in a moment to close your eyes again, if you haven't already, see if you can hold some of that image in your visual field still. Maybe just one part of it. And then let your eyes gently close, if you like. And still hold that attention and focus on your visual field. That somehow part of that image has perhaps lingered in your awareness. And as you're looking in your visual field, even with eyes closed, see if you can see who's looking into your visual field. Is there actually someone back there, a you, who is trying to look into your eyelids? If so, where would they be looking from? And are they seeing your eyelids, or this remnant of the painting, in 2D or in 3D? Maybe you don't have an answer to any of this, and maybe you do. But see what happens for a second if you just let yourself give up trying to see that person and just turn that attention, that looking outward, just turn it back on itself and just see what happens. Maybe something happens for you right there. Maybe it doesn't. But whatever does happen, you can feel that. And when I say that you can feel that, I'm talking to that part that just turned itself onto itself. If there's such a self. And so you can take a few more breaths here, just to remind yourself that you're in this moment, breathing with all your senses about you and all the thoughts and feelings inside you. And in a moment, I'll ask you again to open your eyes to the painting. And this time, as you open, see if you can imagine that this is the first time you've ever seen a painting. First time you've ever seen this painting for sure. But the first time you've seen something represented on a canvas. So go ahead and open your eyes to this painting again. As if it's the first time you've seen a painting. Maybe you have some reactions, some thoughts come to mind. But what is this thing that's flat on my screen that I know I'm seeing? But looks like it's not flat. How is it that on the screen I'm looking at, all these things can be represented with depth, with color? Maybe you even wonder how you're actually seeing what you're seeing, given the fact that I'm in the momentary and you're where you are. But somehow this color is traveling through the air to the camera, which is somehow traveling through time and space to your device, which is somehow making its colors on its screen up to your visual field. And maybe similar to the way that this painting is just a combination of color and lines, texture. Maybe this flat surface translated into the lens, the round lens of the camera surface, translated through time and space into the flat lens of your screen, which is then translated into the round lens of your eye. Which you can feel, then translated back somewhere into the part of you that's experiencing it. If indeed there is a part of you back there. Maybe you can sit with that feeling for a second, with your eyes open, feeling the texture of your blinking, and having this layered impression of a flat colored surface of something, an expression of something, into the round glassy lens of the camera, into the flat screen of your device, into the round lens of your eyes, the glossy, warm lens of your eyeball, and then back to something. Where does that something start back there, and where does it stop? And if you happen to close your eyes, does that something go away too, or does it stay the same as it always is and always has been? Maybe you let your attention focus on a figure in the painting. How interesting it is that the artist can play with depth on such a flat surface. That many of these figures seem to start out as a 2D being or object, And a lot of them have expressions, feelings happening, wonders or realizations. And maybe that's coming from their own experience or their own life, or maybe from the fact that they were 2D flat objects that then turned and morphed. And how interesting that experience must be to assume that you're a flat canvas, oil, paper object, and then to feel yourself turning onto yourself, folding your limbs, twisting your back. What an odd moment that must have been for these figures. To have 2D life folded on itself. What must it be like for one of these figures to feel their own canvas on themselves? To feel the brush of their own leg or arm, or feel their back brushing against itself as they're manipulated through dimensions. And maybe that's part of these disparate parts that pull, push. And so maybe you can have that experience as well. Maybe right now you assume that you're a small eye inside yourself. It's looking out at the world and perceiving stuff. But maybe you can turn yourself on yourself and feel that brush and feel that shift in realization. So even with your eyes open right now, just see what it's like to look at me or your screen, or with eyes closed is fine too. See what it's like to look at something, someone, and then wherever you feel like you're looking from, see if you can look at that spot. See if whatever's experiencing this right now can experience itself. And then let your eyes close for a moment, if that suits you. And see what's going on inside your mind, wherever that is for you. Maybe you imagine that the spot somewhere in your experience where you're experiencing this. A spot inside your head where thoughts seem to pop up. The spot where ideas seem to bubble or memories seem to take up space. And whenever something comes into this space right now, realize that the fact that it's coming into this space means that there is a space there already. An open net, an open space, maybe an airy space, where you can be for a moment, or where things are momentarily in that airy space of possibility. And for just a moment, see if you can watch all this clamor, much like the painting. See if that essence can imprint on your experience, and see if you can sense things vying for your attention, vying for your bandwidth. Maybe an old refrain or an old saying, or what you did earlier today or what you're going to do after this are all sort of jostling in their two-dimensional, three-dimensional kind of way. And as you experience all of these, just see if you can notice that you're actually somewhere else, the one experiencing the thoughts or the ideas or the planning is not actually the you that's experiencing it. That there's some holding space within you where all this is happening. And if that doesn't do anything for you, that's fine. For a lot of people, it's sort of a big question mark and sort of a big, what is he talking about, kind of a moment. And that's the point, is that there's something inside you that's asking questions. What is he talking about? And where did that thought come from? And what heard that thought just now? Was it the one who said the thought, or was someone or something inside you hearing that thought? And so how interesting it could be to have whatever heard that hear itself for a second. And so, in just a moment, I'll ask you to open your eyes again to see before you for the first time, as if a representation of what might happen to you sometimes, where it feels like so many things are clamoring for your attention, or pushing or pulling for the you that's back there, that's experiencing everything. So go ahead and let your eyes open and just see again this potential metaphor of what happens for all of us so frequently, where things clamor, they push, they pull for one thing, and that's you, that's your attention, it's your experience of a moment. And from the comfort and safety of the spot that you're in right now, notice how this clamoring that's actually happening is not you. It's happening out here. And you might be the one that's watching it happen. And so for a second, just see what it feels like when you're able to just give up trying to do anything and just notice the clamor, the push, the pull. Just see it happening from the safety of your own spot right now. And just notice it. Notice that it's happening out here and you're the one that's in there, seeing it all go down. And even here as I sit in the momentary, virtually deserted, it's an interesting experience to feel the energy of all of this clamor. But to realize that I'm actually sitting in a very quiet, comfortable space out here while this is all going on. And that's exactly the point about consciousness, that wherever you feel like you are, however hard it is, however intense the clamoring and the pushing and the pulling for your experience is, the thing that it's experiencing, the thing that experiences it, is not the clamor. And that can feel different. So as you sit right now, as we take a few minutes to close, just let whatever things in your life that are pushing and pulling for your attention, your experience, things that are contorting inside you or in front of you with all their energy, just let those play out for a second on the canvas of your eyeballs, on the canvas of your awareness. And then see if you can feel that part, just like I'm in stillness looking at the painting. And just like you might be in stillness looking at the screen, see if also there's something inside you that is still there, that's witnessing or experiencing all of the clamor of the things in your life right now that are trying to fill your experience. And if you're able to see that or feel that, to see that things are pulling for you, then you're also potentially able to feel that you're not those things. You are the one behind the lens, so to speak, witnessing it all. And so wherever you go, and whatever you do, you can always return to this message when you need it, that something is happening out here, and it's pretty intense sometimes, and it's pretty bad, and it's pretty big, and it feels like it's pulling and taking me places. And at the same time, the fact that I'm seeing that and feeling that means that something else is feeling it, and that might be a different part of you. That might be this more spacious spot that can feel lots of things. And so in fact, just let yourself absorb now everything around you. The feelings your body has right now. What feels light and what feels heavy. Notice your breath in your body, coming out of your body, coming in. Notice those sounds again that we started with. I sort of lost track of them as we went, but now that I tune in again and open that up, the same AC unit's going. Same rustle of the building conditioning itself and keeping things going is here. And you might have sounds in your area too. Maybe you let your sense of sound go out forever until you hear the farthest away sound. And maybe you just let yourself know that no matter what's going on in the world right now, what's pushing or pulling for you, that you're the one seeing it all. You're somewhere back there, aware, and here, always. Yeah. And that's it for today. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for being part in whatever way worked for you, this experience. And of course, I thank and we thank the Momentary for offering such wonderful experiences like this for the community, to connect where we can't, to be places we can't, but to feel some semblance of being together at a time like this. So thank you. Enjoy the rest of your day or evening, and we hope to see you at the Momentary.